Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. This one is all about your life in 2 years' time. So, we're going to take a peek into your future in 2 years and see everything you have going on, everything you can expect. And today we have a selection of different cards for you to choose from. So, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. And basically, you're going to see which of these cards is sticking out to you, calling your name, drawing your attention in towards it. And then, as soon as you make up your mind, just scroll down to the timestamps in the comments in the description and jump right into your pile. By the way, if you like how I read tarot and you want to see more of it, then be sure to head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. I just posted a reading all about channeled messages for your love life. So we kept it very open-ended and heard whatever spirit wanted you to know about your love life. And before that, I posted a reading all about your biggest regrets when you die, which was surprisingly uplifting and positive and really deep and spiritual. And before that, I posted a career reading as well as a money reading and lots of love readings. But there are so many readings to choose from, over 80 exclusive readings you'll only get access to when you sign up for Patreon. You also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So if that sounds good to you and you're interested in signing up and getting to see all my YouTube videos way early, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you want to book a half-hour reading or a full hour-long reading, whether you want it to be pre-recorded and to send your questions in ahead of time, or whether you want a live session where you can ask follow-up questions, clarify certain things, dig deeper into certain areas, whatever you want your session to be, you can go ahead and book that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Now, if you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need, but we're going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey pile one, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked this Covenant, the Sacred Contract card, this is going to be your reading. So let's get into your tarot as well. You also got the Chariot, Nine of Wands, Two of Cups, the Princess of Wands, Nine of Cups, and the Eight of Cups. So the first thing sticking out to me is that beautiful Two of Cups cards. Some of you guys may be in a very healthy, committed relationship or married in 2 years' time. You may be living with a partner, and that is a major part of your life, that in and out, day to day, like checking in with them, having breakfast with them, talking to them, sitting with them, while you de-stress over your day and talk about what happened. That relationship is a major thing coming in. And with the Nine of Cups, it does indicate that you will be happy and you will feel fulfilled in that relationship, or just overall in general in your life. I do see over the next 2 years you working really hard in your career. The Chariot is a card about concentrated energy that we direct towards a certain goal. And I feel like pile number one, you guys are very ambitious and very goal oriented. I almost feel like that's why this relationship may be coming in to kind of like take your mind off it a little or bring more balance to your life, because I do feel like you guys may even sometimes be workaholics or be capable of working all the time to the point of not having a lot of balance. And I do see over the course of the next 2 years that energy somewhat continues. Like, you are really making strides with your career, you're pushing things, you're moving forward and moving ahead. I'm not necessarily saying that you're going to be a workaholic the whole time. I feel like in a way that relationship comes in to add some balance and to remind you that like you're a human. The Nine of Cups, like, you should have more balance and other interests outside of work. Or outside of your career. But I also feel like you guys are just ambitious by nature. Maybe with the Princess of Wands, aka the Page of Wands, you may also just like to be busy, like to go after goals, like to have something you're working towards, something that you're doing. And so I feel like that's going to continue. Like, you're just not the kind of person that wants to sit around, sleep, mope, and lay in bed all day, is the energy I'm getting. Or maybe you have a balance where you'll do that one day and then the next you're like, let's go, I'm gonna, go for a major hike, or I'm gonna like accomplish this thing with my career. I just feel like you guys have like a hustle energy about you, and you like to tick off goals, and that kind of invigorates you. Maybe if you haven't found that thing yet for you, you are gonna find that, and you may feel very fulfilled with the career you're pursuing, because I do see that as a major interest in your life. I see that you guys, it's not just like you're working a career that you have to do a 9 to 5 and you're clocking in and you barely care. It's like you are very focused on this career and you really love it. I'm not saying you love every aspect. You may be sometimes exhausted about it. You may sometimes feel like there's a lot of competition with this 9 of Wands, but I do feel like this career, whatever it is, fulfills you and you're good at it. So this could even be about finding your destiny and your soul. If you haven't found this yet, if you don't know, like, what is this? No, I don't have a job like that. That may be happening for you over the next 2 years. We did get covenant sacred contract. So this may be something you wrote down in your Akashic records before you came to this planet as like a contract that you wanted to fulfill. One of your life purposes may have to do with this career, or it doesn't even have to be career. It almost just feels like there's a goal living rent free in your mind that you just like want to do so bad. And I feel like over the next 2 years, you devote more and more and more of your focus to it. But there may be times when it gets too intense, and I feel like that's when this Two of Cups energy may come in to kind of like balance the scales a little and kind of tug you back down to earth and remind you that you are human. Because I feel like this relationship is really good, and it's almost like it has to be so good in order to make you willing to step away from this goal a little bit. I'm not saying you're giving up on the goal, but in order to allow you to give yourself that balance and give yourself like permission to take a lazy Sunday, or to sleep in all weekend, or to like, you know, not work so hard and stay in the office until like 10 p.m. or whatever the case may be. I feel like this relationship is going to come in to bring balance. And it's funny because the 7th house of relationships is literally shown by Libra, which shows balancing scales. So, you know, definitely relationships are a thing that require us to find balance, compromise. And I feel like that is something you're kind of learning. I feel like you guys can almost, I don't know if you guys have prominent fire. I can feel a lot of fire in this chart, like Aries, Leo, Sag, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Mars, or Venus, or maybe you have one of those planets, Jupiter, the Sun, Mars in like the 1st house or something like that, or aspecting the ascendant. But I feel like you guys are kind of fiery, feisty, passionate, and I feel like you're almost learning to like take a seat back over the next 2 years, and that you don't have to like react so strongly to things. This may also be coming through as a message with the relationship, like where maybe you've been very feisty with that Princess of Wands. Maybe some of you guys, even if you like are in a relationship, if something bad happens, or if, you know, something negative happens, you kind of like could fly off the handle or get really mad or be like, it's over, I'm leaving. And this is like you learning to compromise. This is like learning to like, okay, you know what, I'm not going to overreact. I'm going to be more calm. I'm going to be more balanced. But that's kind of what I'm seeing. And with the 8 of Cups as well, that's bringing up to me a move. And the Chariot also can indicate like a move. It can also indicate buying a new car, purchasing a vehicle. So maybe some of you guys may be doing that. But I also feel like there's a desire for a move. And actually, I'm hearing for some of you guys settling down or buying a house. I feel like that would be with this 2 of Cups person. And there may be like a rush to even like start a family with this person, or really move things along when it comes to like, yeah, creating a family. Let's get some more cards for pile number 1. What is happening for pile 1 over the next 2 years? We got the Knight of Wands. Oh, I was going to say Cups. But we got the Knight of Wands, the 7 of Wands, let's see what other cards we're going to get, if we can get a card. I always think it's so funny when one like refuses to come out and we're shuffling the whole deck, but I always think it's worth the wait. Whatever card we get, we know it was very intentional from Spirit when it takes so long. We got the 3 of Cups, okay, and let's get a couple more. The Magician card. What is happening for pile 2 over the next 2 years? 4 of Wands. That can definitely indicate a wedding, which would kind of play into what I'm already seeing for you with the strong energy around this 2 of Cups relationship. And the Queen of Wands, a lot of wand suit cards. And I'm not surprised because, as I said, I pick up on a lot of fire energy when it comes to you guys. I feel like you guys have a fiery feistiness, and it's almost like learning to harness that a little bit more over the next couple of years, learning to control that power, because wands can be so powerful. If you think about the element of fire, like they say, you know, that is what allowed humans to develop the brains we have and to evolve the way we have and everything, is because of the development of fire. Like I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's so pivotal to human civilization and development, and like actually becoming like intelligent beings, with being able to like cook meat, cook things over a fire. So my point is fire, when it's harnessed, can be one of the most powerful and productive elements that we have, period. Like fire does so many things. But of course, an out of control fire, you know, it can burn down a whole village. So fire, when it's contained, when it's managed, can give you warmth, can nourish you, can help you achieve so many things. And we could never have like gone through the Iron Age, the Bronze Age. That involves harnessing the element of fire and heating metals up, right? So we needed fire to do that. But then when you have an out of control inferno, it's really bad. So it's almost like fire is so potent. It can either be used for the greatest good or the biggest ill. And I feel like for you guys, you're really learning over the next 2 years to harness your own emotions, your own power. That's a misconception about fire signs. People know water has a lot of emotions, but actually fire signs run on their emotions as well. And learning to harness that, like Abraham Hicks has a book, you know, The Power of Emotions, saying that basically that's the most powerful tool to manifest whatever you want, is to learn to control your emotions. And a lot of spiritually powerful people, and a lot of fire people especially, can end up manifesting things against their will, like manifesting something negative because they are so emotional about something. Like they start thinking, oh, you know, my boyfriend is cheating on me, and they go into a panic. And then I'm not saying that would be their fault, but then they like manifest a problem in the relationship because they're stressing. Or they manifest, oh my God, my work, like I'm gonna get fired. And then they manifest something happening really bad in their workplace and them getting like a demotion or something. And if they would learn to harness their mind and think of the best and focus on that powerful positive energy. And again, I don't mean to blame anyone who was cheated on. Of course, it's not your fault. But like, my point is that when we learn to balance ourselves, when we learn to take the control back, and like, I'm not going to let my emotions run the show, I'm going to run the show, that's when we can really harness it. And this is something fire and water need to learn, because if you think about water, it's similar. It can get into an out of control tsunami or like a dam breaking or a flash flood, but controlled, it is super positive. So, you know, we really need to harness those emotions, because those are the two most emotional signs first and foremost. Like earth, not as out of control. Air, not as out of control. Fire and water signs or placements really need to work on making sure they manage their emotions and they're not letting them run the show. So that's just a little quick message for you. I feel like you guys are learning that over the next 2 years for sure. With the Magician card though, I do feel like this is a success for you. You are learning this, and I feel like you guys are able to tick off so many manifestations over the next 2 years. It's almost like the sky is the limit for you. If you've had certain dreams or certain goals or certain ambitions, I do feel like that is happening. I also am seeing this happen concurrently with you guys, maybe building a family, maybe working on your relationship. It feels like there's a lot of milestones in both areas, your career and your relationship. You also are probably developing your psychic abilities with the High Priestess card coming through. And some of you guys may even be stepping into like a position of more authority. I feel like there's also an energy coming through of you learning to be more communicative about what you want. With this Queen of Wands card, and we got the Page of Wands, and we got the Knight of Wands, we got so many wand cards for you. Another thing Spirit is telling me is this: over the next 2 years, you're going to really learn how to voice what you want. And again, maybe doing it in a balanced way. Because sometimes this overflow of like out of control energy comes once we repress. Like I said, I gave the example of a dam breaking, you know, like someone who is trying to hold in water and hold back too much water, and it just explodes out. Whereas if you like did a controlled release and like let out some of that water, the dam probably wouldn't break. So I feel like for you guys, this is maybe also about learning to vocalize what you need and want and developing some boundaries in relationships as well over the next 2 years. I feel like that's going to be a theme for you as well. Learning to how to say no, learning how to voice what you want and doing it in like a constructive way, like not letting things come to a head and just repressing things until they explode, but learning to voice it early or say something early on so that it doesn't reach that point where you're just like beyond any reason, you're so upset. And I feel like this relationship almost helps with that because it's bringing that out in you. Like maybe this person, you know, calls you out. If you like freak out on them, they don't handle it well. So you have to learn to balance more. Or maybe you feel so called to them that maybe in the past you would have just left a relationship behind. But now with this person, you're like, okay, I want to adjust myself. I want to make those changes. I want to learn to kind of be better about this. So yeah, I also feel like you guys are going to be looking really good in 2 years' time because the Queen of Wands, the Princess of Wands, the Knight of Wands, very sexy energies, very attractive energies, usually very charismatic and can attract lots of partners. So I feel like for you guys, you're going to be aging really well. Not that 2 years is a lot of time, like, you know, hopefully not too much is changing within 2 years anyway, but I do feel like, just a note, you are going to be looking good in 2 years time. You may even like make changes to your physical self or how you display, maybe like changes with your hair, changes to how you dress. You may even be dressing in a more sexy way. You may feel more in control of your sexuality because again, the wands can be sexuality, especially the Queen of Wands is probably the most sexual, I would say definitely, of at least the Queen cards. And so I feel like for you guys, you're really learning to harness that. You're really learning your own personal power when it comes to maybe your sexuality or just in general how you are in relationships, like maybe realizing your worth and your value. And I almost feel like there's more of a willingness to be vulnerable as well. Like maybe in relationships in the past you have really held yourself back, or you haven't wanted to fully open up, or you've been very aware of like who has the power, or I need to say the right thing, or I don't want to come across too needy. And now it's like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to let it all out. I'm just going to be my truest self. I don't have time for the BS. And I feel like that also helps you attract this beautiful authenticity that I see coming in. So let's get into some of these cards. What is going to happen in pile one's life in the next 2 years? What is going to happen in pile one's life in the next 2 years? Beneath the surface, hidden truth, something unknown. Then we got Archangel Phanuel, hope, optimism, new beginnings. I am definitely seeing a move for some of you guys, and I feel like you're going to love this new place. I feel like there is a beautiful like home, or if you are moving in with someone or building a home or whatever, like you may build it from scratch and like tailor it to exactly what you want. I could also see, like, again, some of you guys settling down or choosing like a permanent location. And we got family tree legacy expansion. I love that confirmation because I am seeing some of you guys starting a family with this Two of Cups person. I feel like there may be a vibe of like wanting more permanence that hasn't existed in your life before, or maybe you didn't quite feel ready for it before, and you weren't fully ready to commit or like sign up for that. Again, if you don't want a child, like of course you have free will, take what resonates, leave the rest, and spirit isn't gonna, well, I guess spirit can sometimes make you have a child, yeah, but anyway, hopefully, you know, you have freedom of choice with that. But I do feel like for those of you guys that want a child, this may come in for you over the next 2 years. And I'm actually feeling that really settled energy of like a family, kind of like a, you know, that feeling you get around Christmas when all the like houses are decorated and you drive through the neighborhoods and it's like, oh, the Christmas lights are up and the wreaths are up. Like that's kind of what I'm feeling around you guys, if that makes sense. It's almost like, hey, let's go cut down our tree together, and where should we eat on this Sunday? It's like, I feel like there's a vibe of you really enjoying that settled feeling that maybe you didn't really want before. Maybe before you were like, I'm just trying to have fun, I'm just trying to enjoy, and now it's like, I'm ready to like calm down a little, and I like this person so much that they bring this out in me. So we also got elementals, nature spirits, the four elements, and Archangel Raziel, wisdom, inspiration, Akashic records. And like I said, for some of you guys, you may be getting a lot more psychic. You may be working, if you have a tarot practice or a spirituality practice, you may be really deepening that. And I also feel like maybe fulfilling some kind of destiny that you signed up for on the astral plane before you manifested in this lifetime. That may be becoming more and more apparent to you. If you don't already know what your life destiny or what one of your life purposes is, then that may become very clear to you over the next few years, where it's like, I kind of can't avoid admitting this anymore. Like, I know I'm supposed to blah, 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 write a book, or like lead yoga communities, or I'm supposed to be here working in accounting and helping people with their taxes, or I'm supposed to be raising children, or whatever it is. And there's no right or wrong answer. I feel like you're going to feel more and more connected to knowing your destiny and really stepping into that and not running away from it. Yeah, and you may be spending more time in nature, or if you do buy a house, there may be a lot of nature around. You may decorate it with nature. I feel like it's almost like there's this vibe of like, in 2 years, you're going to be so surprised by who you are, or you're like not going to recognize yourself. You know, you're going to be like, is this me? Like, I never thought I would have this, or I never thought I would be like this kind of person. Yeah, so I feel like you're going through major changes. Maybe some of you guys are in therapy or just doing a lot of shadow work, but it feels like you kind of discover who you really are, who you have been, and what you want on a much deeper level. So let me clear some of these, make more space. And I'm gonna pull some more cards because I just like these out of the way. So we want to know what is happening for pile number 2, excuse me, pile number 1. Let me pull this further out of the way. In the next 2 years. What is going to be happening for pile 1 in the next 2 years? Blossoming abundance. Oh, love that card when it comes out, especially in a reading like this. And then we got second chakra Archangel Ariel. Oh, and I love that because, again, she's all about boundaries. And, you know, those lower chakras are really about our boundaries, our feelings of safety. It's about knowing that we can communicate, knowing that we can ask for certain things, feeling safe in our bodies, feeling settled. Like whenever you meet someone with kind of like a frantic energy, they may have issues with their lower root chakras. And sometimes people in the spiritual community can really concentrate on those upper chakras, but those lower chakras, when they're missing, they can give someone a feeling of like rootlessness, or like, what am I doing? I'm too much on the astral plane, kind of like I'm too spacey, or I don't feel safe, so I'm frantic and I'm kind of like lashing out all the time. And with this attachment card that's bringing up as well, if you guys have any issues that you feel like, yeah, I have trauma around relationships, or I know I need to work through this, or yeah, I get really bad anxiety with my boyfriend whenever blah, blah, blah happens, this may be you really working through that and really becoming like this better version of yourself that is much more capable of communicating on a mature level, and is much more capable of being present in the moment and not allowing your fears or anxiety to run away from you. Again, harnessing that emotional in a positive way, controlling your emotions so they don't control you. I feel like by the end of this 2 years, you're going to be this powerhouse and you can apply it towards whatever you want, whether it's relationships, whether it's your career. It's like, you are really learning how powerful your own mind and your own thoughts are, and your emotions. And I do feel like that's also going to pay off with your career. We did get blossoming abundance. So again, there may be a lot of career success. There may be a lot of financial success. I also am hearing some of you guys are going to learn how to balance your checkbook more, like learn how to save money, learn how to invest money, learn how to, you know, really make sure your bases are covered with that. It's like you're not making irresponsible financial choices. If you ever were in the past, it feels like you're able to work through that and really think long term. And maybe your partner helps with this as well, because things seem like they are better financially for you. Oh, door to personal healing and happiness. This may be my favorite oracle card, period. Like, I just love it. And it's such a beautiful image with this very sacred image of a rainbow in the background. Yeah, you guys are really healing over the next 2 years. Like, I feel like you're working so much on yourself, and it's almost like, I can't believe this is who I am. I'm hearing that song by Stained. This song is like from the early 2000s, but it's like so far away. And yeah, it's kind of, I love that song, to be honest. And it's about like, I can't believe that I'm here today. I can't believe this is who I am. I can't believe this is my life, because it's so happy and it's so beautiful. And that's what I'm hearing for you guys, which is so amazing. Let's get one final card for pile number. Caring connections. Yes, this Two of Cups relationship feels like a major part of your life over the next 2 years. It feels like this relationship really brings so much to you, helps you heal, and really teaches you things about yourself. And really, I feel like you and them may have a soul-fated connection. And it's almost like they may come in at a time when you're like, I just think I'm going to be alone forever, or I'm not going to find anyone, or yeah, I know I'm too dysfunctional, blah, blah, blah. And that's when they come in. And I feel like it's like you have this like soul tie, or like invisible string vibe, you know, like the song Invisible String by Taylor Swift. You have this really deep connection to each other that I feel like you stick around and you're willing to change for them in a way that you wouldn't be willing to for anyone else. So let me get some astro dice to end this reading on what astrology placements do we have for pile number 1 for where they'll be in 2 years' time. So we have Saturn, Scorpio, and the 4th house. Okay, let's start with Saturn, since a lot of people are afraid of that planet. So signs would be Capricorn, Scorpio, and Cancer. So Saturn. Everyone's afraid of Saturn. Everyone talks about like the Saturn return. But I personally will say my favorite transit that I've been through, and I know some astrologers are going to be like, Cap, or like, that's not true, BS. But I truly believe it is Saturn transiting my 1st house, which is still going on. So, you know, maybe I'll feel differently when it's finally out. But honestly, I have loved, and I have a really long 1st house. So it has been in there for a while. And honestly, I have loved it, because I feel like when Saturn entered in, it started teaching me the hardest lessons ever, the worst lessons, and the things it was like and also Neptune transited out of the first at this like pretty much very similar time, exact same time. So I was seeing things with rose-colored glasses, and then it was like not only were the rose-colored glasses ripped off, but like they were smashed on the floor, and then Saturn came in and just started screaming at me. So it was like a double whammy. But I truly think that was so helpful. I feel like when it came in is when I really started thinking like more deeply about my life, not just allowing life to happen to me, but being much more intentional, I guess, about things, and much more thoughtful, and feeling more pressure, but in a positive way that allowed me to make positive changes. I always think Saturn is like that harshest teacher in school that comes in and like really pushes you so hard, but then you pass all the tests with flying colors, and then you get to go to whatever college you want. Like there's so many rewards that come from the results of that hard teacher. So I feel like for you guys, you are learning and growing, and some of this process is painful over the next 2 years. I feel like you're especially learning about yourself, your traumas, how you are in relationships. You're learning to compromise more. You're learning to harness your emotions and not fly off the handle as much, not be as ruled by your emotions, not be as, you know, your fate determined by what you feel in the moment, and really being intentional, really being thoughtful about everything that happens to you. And that's a very Capricornian energy. That's why a lot of Capricorns can be literally physically slow. I have Capricorns in my life where sometimes I'm like, why do you move? Like I literally, you move like a sloth, like, but you gotta love that about them too, because that's why they are very effective. That's why Mars is exalted in Capricorn. They don't rush around and make stupid choices. And I feel like you guys are learning to be thoughtful, to take a moment to pause, to think things through clearly instead of rushing into it. You know, that's why, like I said, Mars is the planet of accomplishment and achievement, and it is exalted in Capricorn, not exalted in the fire signs. Again, no hate to the fire signs, but they can definitely take a page out of Capricorn's book and just learn to think things through. And that's what I think you guys are doing. Then we have Scorpio. This is another, like, not quite a malefic, but it is the 8th house. It is a house of traumas. Again, I feel like you guys are doing a lot of healing work. Also, the 8th house is the house of really deep relationships and shared interests and shared financial interests. So shared money, shared finances. It's really that relationship where you join and merge on every level, like really, really deeply. And that's, again, something I'm seeing for you guys. Like this relationship seems like it's very all-encompassing to your life. You guys may buy a house together. You may combine finances. places, you may move in together, and you guys may get married. We also have this fourth house coming out. Fourth house is the house of family, and Cancer is all about family. Cancer is the mom. So again, this energy that some of you guys are going to be getting pregnant, having kids within the next 2 years. It feels like you are really linking up and being willing to make those adult decisions. You know what I mean? Like, you are ready for those changes. You are ready to go there in a way that I just don't think you were in the past. So yeah, that is what I have for you. Pile number 1, I really hope that resonates. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you. I'm always curious, so let me know what you think. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe, and if you want to see more of my content, head on over to my Patreon. I just did a reading all about your love life, channeled messages for love, so we keep it very open-ended and let spirit come in with whatever message you need to hear for your love life. It was a really long, detailed reading, and before that I posted your biggest regrets when you die, also very spiritual and weirdly uplifting and positive. But before that, there was a career reading, a money reading. There's so many readings, over 80 exclusive readings you'll only get access to when you sign up for Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So if that sounds good to you and you're interested in signing up, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you want a half-hour reading or an hour-long reading, whether you want to do it pre-recorded and send me the questions in advance, or do a live session and have some back and forth with me one-on-one, either one works. And like I said, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon in another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile 2, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked this Winter's Dream Gestation Period card, this is going to be your reading. So let's get into your other tarot as well. You guys also got the Prince of Wands, the Two of Pentacles, the King of Cups, the Moon card, the King of Swords, and the Queen of Wands. So what I'm hearing first off is you guys are going to be finding a new hobby, and I feel like this hobby has a lot of potential to almost transform your life. Like, you could maybe monetize it, make money off it in some way. It almost feels like a passion, more of a passion than a hobby. It could even be something that has to do with your career or ends up leading directly into a career, so it doesn't stay a hobby. But I almost feel like you are going to be discovering something that you really, really love and brings you so much joy. And you may even be joining a community around that, because I am seeing community as a major theme for you as well. We got so many suit cards. So we got the King of Swords, Queen of Wands, King of Cups, Prince of Wands, aka the Knight of Wands. So it feels like there are a lot of people around you, and community is a major theme. I'm seeing for some of you guys, this may have to do with somewhere you move. It may be a place with a really strong sense of community, like moving to a small town, and it's the kind of place where, you know, people bring casseroles over when someone has had a loss in the family or something, or where everyone gathers around after church and, like, you know, gives each other like different dishes. Like, one person's bringing macaroni salad, the other brought fried chicken, and someone else has like a strawberry trifle, and everyone's sharing. But, you know, I feel like you are gonna find some community, or maybe it's an apartment in like New York City, but they always are doing like social hour, happy hour, you know, Sunday brunches, like throwing Halloween parties and whatnot. And so you end up getting to know the residents and really finding your community, or you find a group of friends in whatever city you're in. But I feel like community is a major theme for you. I could even see this being like the energy of when someone goes off to college and they meet new friends, or the energy of someone, like, I don't know, backpacking through a certain area of the world, like Southeast Asia or something, and ending up finding like a lot of community, and ending up talking to people all the time, and going to like a full moon party, and, you know, doing that kind of a thing, and like being in hostels and like hanging out with people or something like that. I feel like you are really going to be surprised by how much these relationships bring to your life, and the happiness and joy and fulfillment you find from being around other people. I'm also seeing you're going to have the option to date a lot. Spirit is saying you're going to have a lot of romantic opportunities, and it's almost like it's going to be up to you what happens with these romantic opportunities. So whether they end up being longer term or just a short-term fling, I feel like you're going to be the power one in the relationship. You're going to be the one in the driver's seat who gets to say whether it turns into something more serious or whether it's a little bit lighthearted. But it feels like you're the one who has all these options and all these opportunities. We got the Queen of Wands for you as well as the Prince of Wands. And then she's surrounded by the King of Swords, King of Cups. So I really feel like you're going to have your pick of all these different suitors. And it's almost like you're going to be the one deciding who brings something to the table or who is good enough for you. Because it's reminding me of that Dua Lipa song, Houdini, where she's like, show you have the right to please me. I love that. I love those lyrics in that song. Prove you have the right to please me. And, you know, impress me or I'll go Houdini and I'll disappear on you. Like, I feel like that's kind of your vibe. Like, you're feeling yourself, you're having fun, and maybe it's even made better because you do have this friend group. And so I think sometimes when we're like fulfilled by other relationships, by our friends, by maybe having a close relationship with family members, or even by having a career that we really love, we're not as like lonely and desperate. And not to say there's anything wrong with being lonely, but it can make us more desperate and make us be willing to accept like any kind of behavior. And I feel like because you feel so fulfilled in other things in your life, and again, this could also have to do with the hobby you develop. Like, this could be, like I said, maybe some of you guys might backpack through Southeast Asia, and maybe you're doing that because you're on like yoga retreat, or you're trying out yoga, and so you go to Bali for that reason, or you go to Thailand or something to learn like Muay Thai or whatever. But it feels like there's almost like a pilgrimage or something you're doing for yourself, something you're getting so deep into. And I feel like whatever this is, it brings you that sense of community, it brings you that sense of fulfillment, and it really improves your life. And for some of you guys, this could literally be finding like a long-term partner, a soulmate on this trip. But I also feel like the major theme for you over the next 2 years is a lot of self-growth, discovery, and almost like personal expansion. It's almost like we're not at the stage of life where we want to settle down and make roots, which is kind of like restricting, you know, thinking of like the axis, the mom and dad axis in astrology. That would be Cancer and Capricorn. And that's kind of restrictive. Like, it's kind of like, oh, let me batten down the hatches, let me create my home and kind of stay at home, like homebody Cancer energy, or Capricorn, which restricts and builds a career. It's kind of like about, you know, that's kind of the stage in life when you're settling down, you're building a home. And I'm seeing this as more of like Gemini Sag axis, like the travel axis, the expansion axis, the curiosity of like, I just want to explore, I want to learn, I want to do new things, I want to go new places, I want to talk to people, I want to try a little bit of everything. And like, it's almost like your horizons are broadening during this time. So yeah, it feels like a really exciting period for you. I feel like you guys are learning a lot, maybe again, developing some kind of knowledge for something. Depending on what kind of specialized, like I could even see this being, because again, that Sag Gemini axis does involve the 9th house of higher education. This could be going back to school to learn something and almost like having fun with what that entails, because college is a super fun time for a lot of people. Let's get into some tarot cards for pile number 2. So what is happening for them within the next 2 years? We just pulled the Death card. Ooh, the 9 of Pentacles and the Moon card. I wish you guys could see the numbers on these a little bit better, but here. Okay, and then let's do cards over here for what pile 2 is going to be doing in 2 years. So we got the 9 of Wands and the Sun. You may be spending more time in places with a lot of sun. And the Temperance card, the 9 of Wands, and the 7 of Swords. So I also feel like this energy is really about you learning to be super strategic. Like this is about, I feel like it's almost like the rose-colored glasses come off your eyes in the next 2 years. Like I feel like you're going to be learning a lot about human nature. This is why I often think like going to college or being in like a really social scene is actually so helpful, because one of the things I think it teaches you is social skills, navigating personal relationships, learning how to be diplomatic or learning how to speak, conversate, and that is a learned skill. You know, like if you never actually go to a party, you might be scared to learn or think I'm not good at it, but it may just be you haven't had that practice. And I feel like for you guys, this is about like kind of getting yourself out of your comfort zone or pushing yourself into something that you never thought you could do. Almost like applying for an internship for a really glamorous magazine and you're like, I'm never gonna get it, I'm never gonna make it, and then you get it and then you end up bonding with your fellow coworkers and like your whole life kind of like takes this new shape that you may not have ever thought was a possibility. The Nine of Pentacles can mean that you are in a luxurious scene as well. So like I said, it could be that really high-end magazine in like Manhattan that you end up working with, and it's people who dress really well and have like designer labels, and you're just exposed to that. You may be learning more about like fine dining or about more upscale scenes. Again, not everyone, it is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. I also feel like there may be heartbreaks, I'm not gonna lie, over the next 2 years. Like I feel like especially with that Prince of Wands card sticking out and then the Seven of Swords, what is coming out for that with me is almost learning that when you are in these scenes that like almost like everyone is not your friend, you know, having those life lessons that I think, again, I think can be so helpful about being in a social group or being in a social scene or putting yourself out there in that way, is you start to realize, yeah, not everyone is for me. And also like this person is for me, or this is how I can navigate this relationship. But you almost learn to read human nature a little bit better. And I do feel like you may have some disillusioning experiences, especially because the fields you enter or this hobby or this group may just be competitive by nature with the Nine of Wands coming out. So you may feel a little bit like you have to compete, or like there are people who don't always have your best interest at heart, or sometimes try to kind of like sabotage you or get jealous of you. And I feel like it's almost like about learning to stand on your own 2 feet, or learning not to let that get to you, learning that you should shine as brightly as possible no matter what, and that you're not going to let someone kind of get under your skin. I feel like this is about finding your boldness, finding your confidence, and maybe even putting yourself out there in some kind of public way. Like maybe you decide that you are going to start a YouTube channel or start a TikTok account, but it's almost like I am not going to hide myself or mitigate myself or try to like lessen myself so that you guys feel comfortable around me. I'm not going to try to edit myself and filter myself. I feel like this is almost about you also learning to be a lot more bold and honest. Speaking of that Sag Gemini axis, I mean, no one embodies this more than like Sages and Geminis, because they are just so like do whatever they want. They don't care what anyone else thinks. They're chaotic. There's a lot of Gemini hate online, and I think maybe that's why, but I love Geminis, and I feel like they're so exploratory and great to talk to. Speaking of conversation and like learning how to conversate, Geminis come out of the womb knowing how to do that. And then with Sag, they definitely do exactly what they want to do. They're not going to let someone boss them around or tell them what they should do or contain them. And I feel like that's kind of your energy. It's how can I be bold? How can I explore? And maybe how can I develop my creative gifts or my other interests that I have. This could even be spiritual interests with the Moon card coming out, because I am feeling like a lot of you guys may deepen like your interest in tarot or astrology. I'm feeling a lot of you guys who picked this pile are highly psychic, highly intuitive, and I feel like you are really learning to listen to that and verbalize that and learning how to access that. We did get the King of Cups, and you know, the King of Swords as well is striking me as like the Queen of Wands is also very psychic, Wands and Cups. But also this King of Swords is striking me as kind of like psychic, the way swords can kind of get cut to the heart of a situation. So I really do feel like you guys are learning how to assess and like really read someone, like really tell what someone is thinking, tell what someone is saying, like read between the lines. Like nothing is going to be able to fool you like it did in the past. There's also a bittersweet energy about you leaving something behind. We did get the Death card. So I feel like for you guys, this could be like moving away from home or fully transitioning away from like an old life that's almost like you've been holding on to. I feel like this is also about shedding an old identity. And I feel like a lot of you guys are are already in this process right now, to be honest. So you may already know what I'm referring to. If not, it may happen later in this cycle, but I do feel like by the end of 2 years, this is going to be fully completed, and you're really going to have shed whatever old identity you were holding on to. If you know, dressed a certain way and you feel like, I just don't want to dress that way anymore, or I'm really interested in this fashion aesthetic, but I don't know if I could pull it off. This may be like fully embracing that, fully embracing this kind of new era in your life, and then seeing all the good things that come with that, and then like the bittersweet things. So kind of like trying it and then realizing, I think this is also like an energy of like growing up in some way, you know, like I feel like I could see this energy, like I said, someone going off to college for the first time, or someone telling their parents that like, I'm sorry, but you know, I'm not going to live in the same small town that I was raised in, and I'm moving to LA or whatever. Like it's almost like learning to put up boundaries, or learning that you have to let go of the things that aren't for you in order to step into your destiny. So I feel like there is some sadness with that, and almost like bittersweet quality of like letting go of that past. But it feels like you guys are really ready for this change, ready for something new. This could even be one of those relationships that really transforms you, and like you look back on it as like formative, as like, wow, I learned so much from that person, and I got my musical taste from them. And if it wasn't for them, I would never learned how to cook blah 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 way. Like, you know what I mean? One of those people that you date that later on you're like, wow, I got so much from that relationship. Even if, you know, sometimes you date someone and you're like, yeah, I didn't really change too much, and then you have these transformative experiences, maybe with like Scorpio placements, because they transform everything they touch. But you know, whatever it is, you just end up growing, learning, changing with that person. So I could see also a lot of people in this pile moving to a big city, or having some experience with that, traveling more, even like moving to Europe, just travel in general, because I know I mentioned Asia as well. It feels like it's almost like there's a lot of hard lessons, but there's a lot of, because yeah, now I'm hearing that Welcome to New York song by Taylor Swift, but I feel like that song or that album, one of the themes is kind of like being young and in your 20s and learning about life. And like I said, those formative experiences, the heartbreak you feel, but the way it's so vivid and alive. And whatever age you're in picking these cards, I just feel like you're really learning to become the truest version of yourself within the next 2 years, and you're learning to shed your old skin. And look what we pulled: kinship, community, your group. And that's what I'm feeling intuitively. Like it feels like your friends and the groups you're around is just such a major theme for this pile. Like I can't emphasize that enough. It's all about who you're surrounded with, and I feel like deepening those friendships, you're learning so much about yourself. It's almost like we're not at the phase necessarily where we're ready to settle down for a lot of you, although of course it's a general reading, take what resonates, leave the rest. But I feel like for a lot of you guys, this is more about, I'm still learning. Like I'm not in that phase where I'm ready to lock everything into place and choose where I want to be for the rest of my life and have a bunch of kids that obviously I'm going to be with for the rest of my life, hopefully. I'm going to be connected to, and you know, having to like take care of pretty much for the rest of my life. I'm going to still be in this energy of having fun. Like that's what I'm getting for you guys. Is it feels like I'm still learning, and I'm kind of dealing with more of the self. We got centered energy, self-care. This could be also learning to prioritize yourself more, and even pick up self-care rituals, like learning to take regular spiritual baths, weekly spiritual baths, or learning to work out on a regular basis, learning to like, I don't know, I'm seeing someone do a juice fast. Of course, you want to do things that are healthy for your body and nothing that would stress your body out or be bad for you. So, of course, listen to what your body asks for and is craving. But I almost feel like there's someone who's like finding their groove and stepping into their groove when it comes to taking care of themselves, when it comes to looking after themselves and their body. And again, this phase entanglement is reminding me of gossip. So I do feel like you guys may have some jealous, like kind of ops around you, some jealous enemies that may see your kind of glamour and power and the fun energy you exude. I sometimes wonder if that's why people hate on Gemini so much, is because they are really fun and they're like exciting to be around and they're charismatic. So maybe that attracts some anger from people. And I know, of course, not every Gemini is perfect, and a low vibrational energy can be, Gemini or any sign can be really annoying to deal with. So I'm not invalidating anyone, but I feel like you guys are going to be glowing really strong at this time. You're going to be showing who you are and no longer compromising for others. And I think that in itself is going to attract some jealousy, people talking about you. This could even be people from like your old life talking about you, whispering about how like, wow, they've changed. Or it could be people within your new group that are slightly jealous or envious of things you have going on. So I feel like the sensitivity and strength card really sums it up. It's kind of like you're learning that balance between being sensitive and not thinking I'm this impermeable wall and like I don't give an F if someone's talking about me, but being like, well, actually I do care and I don't want that person around me. And so kind of like you're learning to balance yourself. You're learning to put yourself out there, but also have some boundaries up, and you're learning to be open to new people, but also like not the wrong people, and learning how to read people and trust your intuition with that. And with teacher, again, learning, that's a really strong energy around you. It just feels like you are educating yourself, taking some lessons. This could even be like signing up for a course, signing up for a mentorship with someone, or like some kind of program. And I also am hearing some of you guys may get certified, or you may be going back to school for some kind of like degree or higher learning certification of some kind. So let's get some of these cards for pile number 2. We want to know where pile number 2 is going to be in 2 years. So we got 6th chakra Archangel Metatron. So that is the third eye chakra, a highly psychic chakra. And this is what I was saying, is I really do think you guys are learning to use and harness your psychic abilities that probably already exist. You're probably already in tune with them to a certain extent and already probably can access them. But I feel like that's going to become more and more apparent to you over the next 2 years. You may even want to, like I said, sign up for a mentorship, or take a course about like learning tarot, or get a Reiki certification, or doing it like a, learning with a medium or something like that. I don't know. I feel like you guys, or just learning how to meditate and just really getting better at that, getting into a course with that, or something like yoga, which is a spiritual practice. Either way, I feel like you guys are really learning to harness this third eye, the higher chakras, the crown chakra. You are learning to really trust that, and I feel like that's going to come through and really benefit you with your whole life. It's almost like once this happens, you guys become unstoppable, and you're no longer gonna like believe the jealous people or the people that don't have good intentions for you. So we got, oh my gosh, I love this, the thinking woman and the thinking man. Yes, some of you guys are gonna find like an intellectual friend group. Like I'm seeing this friend group as like really cool, having a cool aesthetic, having a cool sense of style. And I also could see this as you guys like writing a book or starting to write in some way, if any of you guys have had an interest in that. Again, I'm seeing a lot of you guys developing some kind of intellectual hobby. Even if it's like bird watching or playing chess or something, or learning how to bake, but like using really precise measurements to make like the perfect cakes, because baking is kind of like a science. I feel like you are really learning to like do things professionally and with a lot of attention to detail. And again, I could definitely see that writing energy coming through for a lot of you guys, learning how to be a writer, learning how to use your voice, and also surrounding yourself with people who are also smart and intellectual and have a really cool vision for them, for themselves, for the world. Let's get some more cards for pile 2. Where are they going to be in 2 years' time? So we got Blossoming Abundance. Oh, I love that card for you guys. One of my favorite cards in this whole deck. And that could mean financially things are going really well for you. And like I said, I see you guys as being maybe in a very glamorous place as well, because we did get the 9 of Pentacles. Final card we got is the Angel of Love. So what a great angel to have around you. And like I said, there's the potential for some of you guys to really find your soulmate, your partner. I feel like if you do find your soulmate or partner during this time, they may come from your friend group. They may come from the people you hang out with. It may be like a mutual friend, or someone that is in the same group, or someone that you work with. But I feel like it's almost like there's a partnership around you guys, or not a partnership, a community around you guys that leads to this partnership. And also this beautiful love, again, of your friends, of your family, maybe spending more time with family as well. But I could see you guys just being very socially plugged in at this time over the next 2 years. Let's get into some astrology dice for pile number 2, okay, with oh my goodness, this is so funny because this is Gemini. I keep mentioning Gemini, and then we have Uranus. I almost mentioned Aquarius because that is the 11th house of large groups and social circles. And then we also have Scorpio. So the energies we have are Gemini, Scorpio, Aquarius. So 2 fixed signs and then a mutable sign. But anyway, let's go in order and start with Gemini. So I keep mentioning Gemini throughout this reading because Geminis are just so endlessly creative. I love talking with like all Geminis pretty much because no matter what, I feel like Geminis are always good at conversation. They always have interesting things to talk about. And even if you bring up like a topic that they don't even know anything about, which is rare because usually they have like random knowledge about like the most obscure things. But if you bring up something they don't know about, like they'll be like actually interested in learning. Like they're excited to learn. They won't be bored and being like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't really care about like pharmaceuticals in like Japan. It just, why would I care? They'd be like, really? Oh, tell me more. Like whatever most random topic you could think of, they want to know about it. And so they're always learning, and they share that axis with Sag, which has a similar energy manifested differently. Obviously, one is air, one is fire. But I do feel like you guys are maybe becoming like there's an intellectual vibe around you. That's another thing about Gemini. It's ruled by Mercury. So there is an intellectual quality that they have where often they may even dress in a way that's very mercurial, like wearing glasses or just wearing like crystals, but you know that they like know their stuff with the crystals. And if you ask about like, oh, that's a cool bracelet, it's pretty, they'll be like, oh, thanks, that's rose quartz, it's to bring in love and blah blah blah, and they'll like know the history about it. You know what I mean? So I feel like you guys may dress in a way or change your style or your aesthetic to almost like something more intellectual in some way, like dark academia, light academia, or just something that seems very avant-garde and cool and different and unique. Also, Gemini has a million interests, a million hobbies. They really are the sign that's always like changing and becoming new things and shedding old identities. That's why they're the twin. They always have like this dual quality to them. You can never like lock them down and be like, oh, I know exactly what to expect with them. So I feel like you're really going to be surprising people, stepping into a new identity, stepping into a new lane that is very different from the past. And maybe some people will be okay with it. Maybe some people will be not so happy about it, but I feel like you're going to feel a lot more fulfilled with whatever this is. Then we have Scorpio, and Scorpio is, you know, a very potent energy. It is can be a darker energy. It does deal with traumas and pain and some of those darker things in life. And for you, again, I do see that there's going to be a little bit of hardship over the next 2 years in terms of like betrayals, other people who are jealous of you, and almost like shining a spotlight on that. Because the thing about Scorpio is it also rules like plumbing, the sewers, everything that goes underneath the city that we don't see or want to look at. Scorpio always wants to take a look at it. It also deals with like private detectives and any kind of work that's like uncovering the truth. Scorpio is the best at that. So I feel like it's almost like you may already have some jealous or shady people around you, and that may be being revealed to you over the next 2 years. Those people who may act friendly or nice to you may show themselves, their true selves. And I feel like this is kind of a growing period where you're learning about other people's intentions, you're learning how to read people, you're learning about how other people can resent or hate you because of a gift you have or a talent or a good thing about you. So it's almost this somewhat sad process, but the thing about Scorpio is they always transmute and emerge stronger and better and take whatever pain and allow it to fuel them and turn them into the phoenix rising from the ashes. So whatever you go through that is a Plutonian scorpionic experience will make you stronger and will make you much more powerful. I always bring up like Taylor Swift, and she has Pluto conjuncting her ascendant, and no matter how many times people try to cancel her or be like, we hate Taylor, she always seems to come back bigger and more powerful, and that's such a Plutonian thing. She has a Scorpio ascendant, and conjunct Pluto in the 12th house, and then a Scorpio Mars in the first house. So yeah, a lot of actually entertainers, especially that like last and have many different identities, have ascendant conjunct Pluto, like Beyonce, Madonna, anyone who is like had multiple times when they've changed their identity or had multiple people come against them and try to like, you know, bring down their career, and they just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, often has Pluto conjunct the ascendant. So keep in mind that whatever happens over the next 2 years that may seem painful is actually refining, making you better, and making you grow into a much more powerful version of yourself. I actually think, Pile 2, you guys have the potential to build like a career that's going to be like so prominent. I'm not saying it would happen necessarily exactly fully within the next 2 years, but like I said, this could be getting your foot in out of the door of a really prominent magazine that ends up being really glamorous and like successful, and you start out as a lowly intern and work your way up, but it leads to a 30-year career in the fashion industry and you end up being an editor of the magazine. You know what I mean? So I'm seeing that for you guys is like, this is like almost slow build to power. And also Scorpio does deal with like power and is very concerned with power. So again, I feel like you're going to be around powerful people, strong people, and maybe glamorous or wealthy people as well. 8th house, Scorpio's house is the house of other people's money. Then we have Uranus, which rules over Aquarius, and Aquarius is the planet, or the 11th house, it rules the 11th house of other people, or large groups of people, I should say, communities, large friend groups, that kind of a thing. And I'm really seeing that as a major theme for you guys. Aquarius is also very unafraid to be different and unique. And again, I think that's a major theme for you, is like stepping out of some old paradigm or old norm you were in and kind of shocking people, kind of stepping out of your comfort zone to learn, to explore, maybe to change your personal aesthetic or to dress differently. But it's almost like you're going to be really surprising people over the next 2 years, and maybe alienating certain people from your past that no longer fit in with this identity, and kind of like finding and seeking out these new relationships that I think are going to be a lot more authentic to you and just resonate a lot more deeply with you. So it's almost like the old relationships you had with people that you kind of had to fit yourself into an identity that wasn't fully you, like a square peg into a round hole, and it was not as comfortable. Those relationships are on the way out, and you're going to be aligned with people you really can open up to authentically. So that is what I have for you. Pile number 2, I really hope it resonates. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you, so I would love to know what you think. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe, and if you want to see more of my content, head on over to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about your love life and channeled messages about your love life. So we kept it very open-ended. Whatever messages you need to know about your love life, that's what we got into. Before that, I posted a reading all about your biggest regrets when you die. That was actually really deep and oddly uplifting. Before that, I posted a career reading and a money reading and more love readings, but there are over 80 exclusive readings you'll only get access to when you sign up for Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So if that sounds good to you and you're interested in signing up, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you want to book a half-hour slot with me or a full hour-long slot, whether you want it to be a pre-recorded reading with questions you send in ahead of time, or a live one-on-one session where we can go back and forth and you can clarify and expand on certain things, either one works. You can book that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very soon in another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile number 3. So if you guys picked this mindful groupthink card, this is going to be your reading. But let's also get into your tarot. So you guys got the Princess of Wands, the Magician, the 5 of Wands, the Prince of Pentacles, the 6 of Wands, and the Justice card. So the first thing I'm seeing is that a lot of you guys are going to be looking very attractive in 2 years' time. You may be getting a lot of romantic attention over the next 2 years with the Princess of Wands, aka the Page of Wands, leading off this reading. So people may be developing crushes on you left and right. Pile number 2. People may profess their love to you, or you may find that you just randomly like have people crushing on you in your apartment complex, maybe at the gym you work out at, maybe at work. Like, this may just be a very fruitful time for you when it comes to your romantic relationships where you're looking really good and you have a lot of options. I also feel like you guys may be posting more on social media. For some of you guys, this could be like very fruitful for you. There may be a social media, even like career for some of you guys, because we got the Six of Wands. And I'm feeling like you guys are going to be more and more ready to step into the spotlight over the next 2 years. You're going to be less afraid of what other people think, what other people have to say, and less afraid about kind of taking that mantle of the spotlight and taking center stage. It's like, I'm okay with people seeing me, I'm okay with people judging me, and I feel like the rewards are going to outweigh the risks. So if in the past you haven't wanted to be on social media because you've been afraid of judgment from others, or you would be afraid of what people would say, I feel like that is no longer holding you back, and you are fully okay with people seeing you and perceiving you as what you really are. I also feel like you guys may be financially making a lot more money in 2 years' time. It feels like you are leveling up in a lot of ways. I'm also hearing some of you guys are going to be much more disciplined in 2 years' time. So we did get the Prince of Pentacles, aka the Knight of Pentacles, and also the Justice card is pretty disciplined as well. And I feel like you are really working on like developing a routine. Like in 2 years' time, maybe you're clearing something up with your diet. Like you're going to clear out, I'm no longer going to eat GMOs, or I'm no longer going to eat non-organic foods. Two things I would definitely be very happy for everyone who makes that choice, because I think those are kind of things we definitely should all try to avoid. Or maybe it's something else. Maybe you're like, I'm going to be disciplined with like, I'm going to wake up at this time and I'm going to make a healthy breakfast and I'm going to go work out, or I'm going to stay in the office and work late. But I feel like it's almost like in 2 years' time, you have a really nice life, because I keep seeing someone with like a beautiful apartment, like almost one of those apartments from TikTok where someone will make like ice making videos, like restock my ice fridge, or restock my fridge with me, and you just see they have this beautiful like perfect looking kitchen. And I am feeling like that's the vibe around you. Like things are really locking into place. And I feel like a lot of you guys are probably going to be career girls or career guys, and very like focused on building this really nice life and almost like detail oriented. If you have felt like you were a bit of a mess or things were chaotic for you, I feel like you're going to be really buckled down and learning the value of a discipline over the next 2 years. And it's almost like you don't really have a place in your life anymore for a mess or for dysfunction or for procrastination. And you're really kind of being hard on yourself about like, you know what, I am going to stop doing that. I'm going to really like take responsibility for this. And so it feels like a little bit of a journey that you're going through with realizing your own responsibility, realizing your own power, and really stepping into that. For some of you guys, that may be because you are stepping into a demanding or high paying job. We do have the Justice card, and the Justice card does connect with law. And I feel like for you guys, some of you may maybe going to law school, or maybe graduating law school, becoming lawyers, or there may be an energy of just that level of a job. You know how a lawyer is a high paid job, but it's also high stress. You have a lot of like ducks you have to get in a row. You have a lot of things you have to organize, and you have a lot of stuff you have to like memorize in terms of like case law, whatever. And so I feel like you're almost like taking on a job that would be something like that, where there is a lot of pressure on you, or there's a lot of stress, and maybe at first you flounder, or at first you're like, oh, I can't do this. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to be really disciplined about going to bed at 10 p.m. every night so I get 8 hours sleep. And then once you start doing that, I feel like you're like, oh, this is more manageable, and maybe I could go to bed at 9 p.m., wake up at 5 a.m., go for my morning run around the little lake that I live nearby, and then I'll feel really good during the day, and then run home, get a smoothie, have time to make a smoothie, have time to take a quick shower, and then I'm off to work. And waking up an hour early really helps my routine. And so I feel like routine and developing like this regimented schedule, almost like that sixth house Virgo energy that has to do with how we schedule our time, is a major theme for you over the next 2 years, and really getting a grip of how you can organize, how you can make your life more streamlined, and how this can help you to be efficient. Because with the Magician card, I do feel like you guys are achieving your dreams. And a lot of you guys have so many things that you are either already accomplishing, maybe that has already happened for you, or by the time 2 years come around, it's like you're dealing with a totally new level in your life. You have leveled up. Maybe, like I said, it's like when you graduate law school and then you go to be a lawyer and suddenly you're dealing with like real issues and real clients and not just like reading textbooks. So yeah, I feel like for a lot of you guys, there is a level up, but it's almost like this level up requires a lot more balance and work from you that you have to learn to deal with. But I feel like you guys managed that really successfully. And in 2 years time, it's almost like you haven't had an overall glow up because of this, because you're more disciplined. You may be also looking good on the outside as well because you have some time for self-care and you're like regularly doing that. And I feel like with the Six of Wands as well, like there's just this unapologetic quality to you. Like you're just living your best life. You're just doing yourself, your whatever you want to do, I guess. And it's like if someone doesn't like it, I feel like you don't care as much, maybe because you have had some of those Five of Wands experiences. You've had some jealous people, you've had some people coming against you, and so you've learned to kind of like let it roll off your back or not let it affect you like it used to in the past. I do feel like you are the name on everyone's lips for the next 2 years. We got mindful, groupthink, the Six of Wands. I just feel like a lot of people are paying attention to you, maybe talking about you, maybe noticing you. At first, I feel like that kind of gets to you, and then it's like by the time 2 years is up, you're much more like, yeah, think what you want, I don't really care. So let me get into some more cards for pile number 3. So we want to know what's going to be happening with pile 3's life in 2 years time. So we got the Nine of Swords, okay, the Ten of Pentacles, okay, love that. And let's see, one more. Oh. The Two of Swords, and that was reversed. Let's get some more cards for pile number 3. So we got the Knight of Wands, the Page of Cups, the Ten of Wands, and the Justice card again, double Justice card. Wow. Okay, so we have a lot of sword cards coming out, first of all. Just a whole row of sword cards, and then we also have some wand cards. So we got the Nine of Swords, Ten of Pentacles, and the Two of Swords. So with the Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles coming out, again, I see you guys earning really good money over the next 2 years. I see you guys doing well financially. And I also feel like you're going to be leveling up and reaching a higher status. I see that really strongly. The Six of Wands can talk about that. And also the Ten of Wands, because the tens in tarot are completion. And so even though the Ten of Wands isn't as positive as like the Ten of Cups or the Ten of Pentacles, combined with the Ten of Pentacles and this overall feeling I have, I really do feel like you guys are reaching new levels in your career and around your reputation. It's almost like people are noticing you, people are talking about you. And keep in mind, even the 10th house in astrology deals with your career and your public reputation and rewards and honors you get. So again, I feel like whatever you're doing career-wise, it's really being noticed by your superiors or by any kind of boss you would have. Or if you're not an entrepreneur and you work for yourself, maybe like you're just really booked and busy with clients and people are loving what you're doing and people are talking about it more and more and more. I also feel like, though I'm not going to lie, there is this energy of sometimes feeling a little burnt out. The Ten of Wands definitely can talk about that, or feeling like your schedule is just packed and you don't have a lot of time for yourself. So I feel like the discipline you initiate and you start implementing in your life allows that to flow a little bit easier. So once you start with a disciplined schedule, once you start balancing that and not obsessing or going super far in one direction or another, then I feel like you're able to handle things a little bit easier, and it's not so much of a like slog, or it's almost like without the discipline, this is going to be really hard to maintain, because I do feel like you are going to get busier, and I feel like the workload is going to get more and more and more. And I feel like the discipline and the schedule and the regimented, like I'm doing this at this time and I have a plan, and it's almost like second nature. Like I wake up in the morning, I make my smoothie, then I go to the gym. That kind of vibe is going to help you manage this so well. I am also seeing you guys date, and I feel like for some of you guys, this may not be like your soulmate forever, but I am seeing one relationship come in particular that's going to be very meaningful. And it is a general reading, so take what resonates, leave the rest. So for some of you guys, this could be a long-term spouse or a long-term partner. So what is coming through most of all is that I feel like this is a longer term relationship. It doesn't feel like a fling, and it doesn't just feel like a hookup or anything like that. It feels like this is a person you would date for months or years. But I also feel like it's almost like because you're so busy, you're maybe not fully capable of giving all of your heart to this relationship. Or maybe you guys are both busy, or they're very talented and very successful and wealthy or something, and they're also busy. I don't know, but what is coming through is with this relationship, it does really help you to achieve your goals, or this person, you learn from them. They may help point you in like the right direction of, like I said, getting disciplined, having a schedule. Like if they're already an entrepreneur and you're an entrepreneur and you're struggling with like, oh, how do I fulfill these like client, orders that they placed, they may help you and give you tips or something. I feel like they'll also like help you and guide you. I'm also seeing a dog for some of you guys, or adopting a pet, and maybe implementing like a daily schedule around walking, because I feel like there's almost like a really strong need to de-stress after work. So maybe like taking an Epsom salt bath. That's a spiritual bath. The Epsom salt really clears energies from your energy fields. Or coming home and like meditating or something like that. Like I almost feel like there's spiritual practices, and it's almost become like a non-negotiable. Or going for a walk around the block, or going for a walk. Like I keep seeing someone walking around, and almost like physical activity as really helpful for you to de-stress, and to get rid of stagnant energies. So yeah, I feel like you guys must be picking up a workout routine, exercise routine. And what I like about this new person or this partner is it feels like they are very disciplined as well. And they may have a workout routine, workout regimen. They may have some kind of schedule or healthy diet that they fit to. I feel like they also are very encouraging of you. Like they will tell you, like, have you, done blah, blah, blah today? Or, hey, babe, by the way, it's Tuesday. And I know you said that every Tuesday you were going to do blah, blah, blah. Like you were going to go through your bills, or you were going to, I don't know, that we were going to do like vegan healthy dinner Tuesday or something. I don't know. But I feel like there's some kind of regular thing that they may remind you of. Or if you're like, oh, I really want to sleep in, and, I'm just going to lay in bed all day. They may be like, come on, babe, let's go to the farmer's market, get some organic veggies, and then let's go for a walk. Which I know kind of sounds like a nightmare probably to some of you guys. Like you're like, I don't want a partner like this. That's the best part of a relationship, sleeping in, vegging out, and like ordering in takeout and eating in bed with your partner. I get it. But I just feel like it's not to say you can't have days like that, or nights like that, or mornings like that. But I feel like they're also really good at like inspiring you to meet your personal goals, and like kind of helping you grow a little bit. So yeah. And it's interesting we got the Justice card first, because this definitely stuck out to me out of the first reading. I do feel like I probably have some lawyers or people studying to be lawyers in this pile, because I just keep getting that. But the Justice card can also indicate legal issues in general. Hopefully we don't have too many. I'm not feeling like that is coming up as much. Although I am seeing like, I guess, issues around signing a lease, or almost like needing to get paperwork in order when it comes to something around a lease or a house or an apartment. Or I guess like buying a house, it could be, I don't know. But I'm not quite sure what this is. It's not coming through super strong. So yeah, I feel like the Justice card could also be, again, just learning that balance, because of course the Justice card is ruled by Libra. Libra literally shows the scales of balance as its symbol. So I feel like for you, this is about, again, a little bit of balance, not going all into your career. Maybe you're very aggressive about it, or you're very like enthusiastic about it at first. And then it's like, you know what? Let me make time for this hobby. Let me do this on the side. Let me make sure I'm actually spending time having a girls' night out once a week and seeing my friends. So I'm not completely stressed out 24/7. So let me get into some more cards for you. Pile number 3. We want to know where pile 3 is going to be in 2 years' time. Attachment. Soulful appreciation. Personal guide. And this one says guardian angel, spirit family. Soulful appreciation says heartfelt gratitude and attachment, longing, desperation. Okay. Where is pile number 3 going to be in 2 years' time, Spirit? We have currents of emotion, uncontrolled feelings, and one more card. Divine presence, the force of love and creation. Okay. So yeah, this person also, I'm feeling like you may attract a very successful partner. This person may have a lot of money, or they may be very financially successful. Like I keep getting that, and that's what that soulful appreciation card is sticking out to me as. They may be quite generous to you, or they may even introduce you to like high-end restaurants, or take you out to like really bougie places and like expose you to new foods, or teach you how to like eat in a certain way, or certain obscure table manners or something. You know, I feel like this person may have elevated tastes, and over the next 2 years you also may be refining your own personal style, how you dress, how you adorn yourself. I almost feel like you guys are going to be looking more, I'm hearing expensive in 2 years time. Like you're looking really good and you look a bit higher end, or you are looking more upscale, or maybe you're like changing, tweaking your personal style so that you look a little bit better. I feel like, yeah, there's also this vibe of you guys, something about relationship with the mom coming through, either getting closer to your mom or getting some kind of closure or healing when it comes to the relationship with the mom if you're not close to your mom. So for those of you guys who have a good relationship with your mom, I feel like you're getting closer with her, or the relationship with her is getting even better. I could see some of you guys like going on vacation with your mom, or taking her for a trip, or giving her a really nice gift or something within the next 2 years. And for those of you guys who don't have a good relationship with your mom, this could be getting closure and healing and moving on, and like not carrying any more bitterness. I know it's so hard when you've been through like childhood stuff, or you had a neglectful mom or a narcissistic mom, to deal with those emotions. So no judgment to any part of the healing process, or however anyone chooses to process grief. But I do feel like sometimes when we are upset, or we have a lot of unprocessed anger, it can weigh on us heavily. And that's kind of the sad thing about trauma, is how it affects the person who's like the victim in the situation, because they can be the one who ends up holding that burden. And I just feel like for you, it's almost like, you know what? I'm not going to be mad about this anymore. There may even be like reconciliation when it comes to a relationship with a mom, although of course I totally respect people's boundaries. Not everyone is even supposed to reconcile with a mom, and if that relationship is destructive, I think it's good to keep it at bay. But I feel like there's almost like a release on your end of just like, oh, I'm not holding on to this, or I'm not even going to think about this person anymore. I'm just going to really be in a place of peace. So either way, something about the relationship with the mom I feel like improves, and there's like healing and forward momentum. Also possibly with the grandmother. For some of you guys, this could be getting closer to the grandmother. And I'm not gonna lie, for some of you guys, there could be, I don't want to say anything possibly negative, but I feel like you feel your grandmother's presence around, or there's some kind of energy of really connecting to the matrilineal line and getting almost like dipping into their gifts and talents. Like it reminds me of, I've been to psychics who have told me, oh, you have, psychic abilities, before they ever knew I was a tarot reader, because I don't like to say that first thing, and it's through the matrilineal line, through the mom's line. I'm not saying it's that, but it reminds me of something like that, where you're like, oh yeah, that's why I blah, blah, blah. Every woman in my mom's family did this, whatever it is. And I feel like there's something about getting in touch with that, or even like using recipes from the mom's line, or something about connecting with the heritage from your mom's side. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I feel like you guys are, there's a lot of healing going on, and there's a lot of inner growth and like taking on responsibility. So let me clear these out of the way so we can get some more cards from a different deck for pile number 3. So let's see from this deck, what do we have for pile 3 with where they'll be in 3 years time, 2 years time? Envy, broken heart, indecision. These are not super positive right now, but we'll pull more cards. Where will pile 3 be in 2 years time, Spirit? Door to Spirit and Cornucopia. Yeah, love that it ended on Cornucopia, which is a super positive card, but Cornucopia is all about financial abundance, and I think that's something that is going to be coming through really strong. There's financial abundance, there's success, and I feel like also you guys are putting up boundaries in some way or healing from certain things. Maybe this has to do with the mom. I don't know. It could have to do with other things in your life as well. But it's almost like things that no longer fit you because you're leveling up so much, because you are growing into a much more mature version of yourself. I feel like you don't have as much time in your life for people that don't add value, or for friends that are chaotic, or friends that kind of like take up a lot of time and don't really give a lot back. There's a strong energy of creating some boundaries, and there's a strong energy around leaving those old habits in the past. And I feel like you also are getting very clear on what you want in life and what you want to build. Maybe you're creating like a vision board, or you're deciding to shift career paths. I feel like you're also leaning into things really strongly. Like if there was a relationship you were in that the person didn't really respect you or treat you right, it feels like that's going to be falling off, and you are going to be ready to leave it behind. There's a vibe of you like really stepping into your own personal power and thinking clearly about, how does this advantage me, or what am I getting out of this relationship, instead of just signing up for like any old relationship or being like, yeah, they don't really do much for me, but whatever, it's fine. It's like you're really thinking about kind of the transactional nature of things and like, what am I getting out of it? How am I being advantaged of this? What am I getting versus what am I giving? And I think that's a really good thing for you. Like you're really getting clear about that instead of accepting whatever is thrown at you. It's like you're being a little more selfish. Let me get into some astrology dice. For pile number 3, we want to know what astrological energies are at play. So we got the second house, yes. And we also got Taurus, so double second house Taurus energy. And then we got Mercury. Let me spin this one more time since, you know, I hate the doubles. Sagittarius. Okay, perfect. So let's do it in order. Mercury rules over Gemini and also Virgo. And Mercury energy is highly intelligent. Whether it's represented in Gemini or Virgo, it's highly intelligent. It is a sign of communication. It's also the sign of technology. It's a sign of learning. So I feel like you guys are really learning. And one thing that I think I associate a lot with Mercury is, of course, vocabulary and the words you use. And maybe some of you guys are improving your vocabulary, or maybe learning or mastering a second language. Like maybe you decide to pick up Spanish or French or Russian or whatever. Or maybe if you learn or speak English as a second language, you may be really refining that, getting better at it, improving your accent, improving the words you use, and really perfecting it. Because there's some vibe about in 2 years' time, you being able to almost like sit at a fancier table, or fit right in like a different social setting, or maybe even like impressing people with like, oh my gosh, they have a really big vocabulary. They know a lot of words. Or also it could be, yeah, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they speak Japanese, or I can't believe they speak, Portuguese, or I can't believe they speak German, whatever the language may be. I feel like there's some vibe of people being really impressed by that. And like I said, your manners being improved, your vocabulary being improved, and almost like being capable of hanging out with a totally new social group that I feel like is very impressive. Like it's almost like you're leveling up in that way. You know, whatever you're going to, it seems like it's like a step above in a way, whatever you've been used to dealing with. And also Mercury is a sign that definitely deals with like the workplace. That's why people freak out when Mercury goes retrograde, because of course Mercury rules a lot of the technology we use in the workplace and communication and emails and fax machines and all that kind of thing. So when it's retrograde and everything's going haywire, it's not the best thing for work. And so again, that heavy emphasis around your workplace, I feel like you guys are going to be really on point with that. And that corresponds with the second house, which is the house of earned income. And of course, that's ruled by Taurus. The second house is the house of the money we earn ourselves. And also it's things we value in general. And it's also a very luxurious and indulgent house that has to do with like all five senses and the good things in life, food that tastes good and clothes that feel good against our skin, and kind of like sensual indulgence of that. And I do feel like you guys are going to be earning more money. And also, again, you may be like exposing yourself to really rich, delicious foods or expensive, delicious foods, or, you know, improving like the clothes you wear, leveling up the clothes. So maybe, you know, you'd buy whatever you could before and it was like cheaper clothes. And now you're like, let me invest more in like that cashmere sweater that's going to feel so good against my skin, or let me spend more on the like nice wine, and I'm not just going to buy the cheap like $2 chuck from Trader Joe's, or I'm not just going to get whatever grocery store like $6 bottle that I can find. I am going to, you know, spend a little more for the good stuff. It doesn't have to be that. I'm just saying that's an example of like that Taurus energy that's willing to invest and prefers the finer things in life. I feel like you guys are really stepping towards that. Then we also have Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules over travel and new experiences, also learning. So you guys may be improving your education in some way, getting a degree or getting certified in something. And Sagittarius is all about travel, exploring, kind of pushing the boundaries and like getting outside the norm for us. So some of you guys may be moving or traveling internationally. I could also see this because travel is kind of a luxury product, right? Like it's not a right, or just everyone doesn't get to travel. You have to have money, and, you know, plane tickets, traveling in general can be expensive. So again, I feel like this could be stepping into like a luxury lifestyle where maybe you travel regularly, or maybe you have a partner that's happy to pay for you guys to go to a really nice resort or something like that. But yeah, I feel like your life is definitely leveling up, and there's really exciting things happening for you, pile number 3. And again, maybe that emphasis around social media for some of you guys, like maybe you are going to become a content creator, or maybe you're going to start posting more of yourself online or on your Instagram or whatever, and just showing more of yourself and no longer holding yourself back. But I feel like people are going to notice like, wow, pile number 3, they've really leveled up, and look at them, they're living a pretty great life. They're doing some exciting things. So this is definitely a good thing. That is what I have for you, pile number 3. I really hope it resonates. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you, hearing your thoughts, stories, observations. So please let me know. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe, all that jazz. And if you want to see more of my readings, be sure to head to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about channeled messages from your love life, about your love life. So we kept it very open-ended. Whatever messages needed to come through about your love life and romantic life, that's what we got into. Before that, I posted a reading all about your biggest regrets when you die, which is actually oddly uplifting and really deep and spiritual. And before that, I posted a reading all about your career, your money situation, and more love readings. So there are over 80 exclusive readings you'll only get access to when you sign up for my Patreon. You also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos, so you get to be the first to see them over on Patreon. If all that sounds good to you and you're interested in signing up, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you're interested in booking a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you're looking for a 30-minute quick reading or a full hour-long reading, whether you want to send me the questions in advance or do a live one-on-one session, have some back and forth, get to clarify with me and focus on certain areas or gloss over other areas. Whatever you want to have your session go, you can book that and select all the options on my website, briarrosetarot.com. So if you're interested for that, link is in my description. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon in another reading. Take care, guys, and I'll see you then. Bye. Hey Pile 4, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked this Overflow, Overwhelm, and Plenty card, this is going to be your reading. So let's get into your other cards. You guys also got the Five of Swords, the Feralt, which is the Temperance card, the Princess of Pentacles, the Lord, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles. So the first thing I'm feeling for you guys is there may be someone coming in to date you within the next 2 years. This could be a powerful guy, and I do feel like there may be conflict within the relationship with the Five of Swords. I feel like you're really learning a lesson over the next 2 years almost about boundaries or how to judge people. I feel like it's almost like you're stepping into your personal power. This may be an old energy that's leaving your life as well. If you've had someone who's tried to like control you, lord power over you, kind of like boss you around or tell you what to do or call the shots around you, I feel like that energy is leaving and changing, and you're going to be able to stand up for yourself a lot more by the end of 2 years. If that hasn't left your life yet, this may be someone who is going to come in that you should be aware of, that this person may try to like push boundaries, press you, kind of like get you to bend to their will a little bit. And I feel like this is about you really learning to take your personal power back and learning to say no and learning how to kind of bow out and, you know, excuse yourself from those kinds of situations. Learning that you don't have to put yourself under anyone else's thumb, and if someone is trying to control you, that is a red flag, and learning how to do it like gracefully, like not losing your mind and screaming, but maybe learning to say, you know, politely at the beginning, like, oh no, sorry, I'm not gonna work after 8 p.m. Or if it's a guy who's trying to date you and trying to come in and like boss you around, being like, hey, so you can't, you know, go through my phone while I'm sleeping. Like, that's really unacceptable. I mean, maybe that would be worthy of screaming at someone or something, I don't know. But like, I feel like it's almost like learning to enact those boundaries or learning to say no. For some of you guys, this may not even be a controlling person, but if you have struggled with creating boundaries in the past, these issues may come to a head within the next 2 years. And in your relationship, you may be really called to like be measured and calm and also put up boundaries. I feel like in a way though, one thing I'm getting about this pile is there's gonna be someone coming in who's like obsessed with you. Like, this person wants you so much, and they kind of want like all of you, like they're really, really into you. And I feel like it's almost like learning to find balance with that, or maybe a potential for a relationship that's super intense and very like passionate and obsessive, but maybe veering sometimes into like too obsessive, too passionate, too I want all of you, and almost like you learning to find your own identity outside of that, or you learning how to like be in a relationship with someone that really cares about you, but also learning to, again, put up boundaries a little bit, or say no, or say, I'm glad you like me so much, but yeah, I need like a little space, and learning how to manage that and learning how to be calm. But for some of you guys, this is someone coming in that's like literally going to be so obsessed with you. And I feel like in a way, that's what brings out their anxiety, is because they're so into you, and it's almost like they would be devastated if you left. And I'm hearing like Cornelia Street from Taylor Swift, how she's like, basically that song is about, if we ever broke up, I could never walk down this street again, because everything would remind me of you. And I feel like that's how this person kind of feels. It's like, if you left me, it would be so devastating. So in a way, they may do like dysfunctional things to try to make sure and check in that you still love them. And I feel like it's almost like you learning to regulate your emotions and tell them, you know, you can't act that way, something like that. I'm not sure exactly what this is, but I do feel like maybe it's already in some of your energy fields, or if it's not there yet, maybe it is coming in. So take it how it resonates, leave the rest. But there is something to be aware of with a potentially volatile relationship with someone that, like I said, they're like obsessed with you. They think you're so sexy, but it may at times feel a little smothering or like too controlling. And there may be like secretive, shady methods with that Five of Swords. So it may be up to you to kind of like alchemize things like the Temperance card shows and make it so that like there's more balance. And with the Princess of Pentacles as well would indicate that maybe it's going to be important for you to really keep your cool in this relationship and kind of like not allow your emotions to run away from you. That is the Page of Pentacles in the traditional tarot. So it's like trying to be a little bit more slow and steady is, I think, probably a good idea. This could be also a relationship that you really put work into, because the Seven of Pentacles is kind of ringing for me as a relationship card as well. So it could be a relationship that you put work into and you really like improve that sector of your life. I could almost feel like for some of you guys, this could be a really passionate but volatile relationship that you go through, but it's almost like the final relationship before you meet your soulmate. Or this could be your soulmate and you can work through some of the volatility or the intensity that sometimes soulmates bring out in each other. But take what resonates for you. It is a general reading, but I feel like it's almost like whatever lessons you learn in this relationship are very sacred and really help you to alchemize on your personal journey and help you to unlearn certain things and help you to really stretch your own like conception of yourself. Because sometimes we think, well, I'm just jealous and possessive in a relationship, but then we meet our match or we meet someone who's equally jealous and we realize like, it's dysfunctional, I don't want to be around this. And then we learn, maybe I should stop being so jealous, you know, or whatever the case may be. So I feel like you guys are really pushing yourself and kind of learning a lot through this relationship, and that's the main thing that I'm getting for the next 2 years. Like a major theme for you seems to be this relationship. I'm also seeing the home sector be brought up. So for some of you guys, this could be moving into a home, getting an apartment, but I almost feel like this would be a more stable long-term place, like a place that, yeah, you might buy a house, buy an apartment, or if you're moving into an apartment and just signing a lease, maybe you're going to be there for a really long time. You know, even if you're renting, you might just like rent it for years, or try to buy it yourself, buy the unit at some point. But it feels like it's like laying down roots or something. I could also see some of you guys redecorating the place that you live. And I feel like almost like creating a home is going to be a major theme for you, Pile 4. I could see some of you guys that want to have kids getting pregnant within the next 2 years. I feel like it could be with this soulmate relationship partner. And I feel like you guys, yeah, it's like things may also move really fast. So I don't know, this relationship, I feel like, you know, this is the thing with general readings is like sometimes they have to lump multiple energies into a reading. So for some of you guys, this could be a really beautiful relationship that is just so gorgeously soulmatey and just there's so much love, and I love it, and it has a really good energy. And it's almost like there just might be a few kinks that need to be worked out with like managing expectations and being more reasonable or balanced, but it could be a really great relationship. For others of you, this could be that toxic thing I was picking up on, but like I said, take it as it resonates. I feel like there's also the potential here for a lot of soul growth, because again, I feel like this person really wants to urge you on, root you on, and is kind of like cheering for you to accomplish a lot of stuff and really, really likes you. I also feel like you guys are going to need to find a little bit of balance with your work. Like it's almost like the work may take away from the relationship or vice versa. Or if you have a kid, maybe you decide to leave your job and like be a stay-at-home mom, or you're going to take a really long maternity leave. I feel like with that Two of Pentacles, it's kind of like, how do I balance this? And I do feel like your personal life kind of occupies a larger part of your brain at this time within this 2 years. So let me get into some more cards for pile number 4. We want to know what is happening for pile 4 within the next 2 years. What is happening for pile 4 within the next 2 years? Okay, the Five of Pentacles, the Hierophant, the World card. Oh, love that. Okay. And let me shuffle over here. The Eight of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, the King of Cups, and the Ace of Pentacles. So a lot of Pentacles energy all of a sudden. And the energy of Pentacles, of course, is earth energy, which is very slow and steady. And this is almost what I'm seeing is like, if you have been someone who's volatile, if you have been someone that's very water and fire in your chart, you might be someone that needs to learn from those earth signs with the way they will be very slow to react, and they won't overreact and like freak out and do things in haste. A lot of times earth energy can be almost maddeningly slow. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, they're all honestly like sometimes slower moving, literally, physically. And it can drive like an Aries or something absolutely crazy, you know, but there's so much wisdom in that as well. And that's why Mars is exalted in Capricorn, an earth sign. Mars, the planet of getting things done, accomplishing goals. So I feel like for you guys, it's almost like you are learning to move slower in life, and you're learning to have that long-term longevity that a lot of earth signs have, where they're going to think about the future. They're not going to think about the temporary, how things are right now. They're going to think about how things are going to be in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30 years. And so I feel like for some of you guys, you may be coming up with like a different routine when it comes to your career, finding ways to earn more money, or just finding ways to save and budget and cut down on expenses. I also am seeing some of you guys make a move, and possibly an international move for some of you. I feel like wherever you move, it's kind of like a little bit outside of your comfort zone. I'm almost seeing you might make a move, especially to appease this partner or for something with your job. You may be kind of reluctant to make this move at first because it does feel like it's stepping outside of your comfort zone. It doesn't necessarily feel like one of those moves where you're just like so excited, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. I've been dreaming of this. I'm so happy. I'm just moving for fun. It feels like you have to move, or it's like a very reasoned decision of like, okay, I should make this move, and I should do this for business reasons, or I should do this for relationship reasons. And I've really thought this decision through. But financially and success-wise, it feels like things are good for you. We did get the Eight of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, and the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles isn't so great, but the Eight of Pentacles is better, the Seven of Pentacles better, and the King of Pentacles obviously is really positive. I could also see definitely this energy of, again, being a stay-at-home mom with the King of Pentacles coming out and the Five of Pentacles. It may be that you're like, you know, I'm not earning as much money at my job. I'm going to step away from this, or I'm going to work less hours, and maybe my husband is going to work more, or something like that. Not for everyone. And of course, this is a 2-year long reading, so it would, you know, it may not happen fully within the 2 years. But I feel like for some of you guys, you're kind of making choices to prioritize others to a certain extent, or to really clear things in your life to make other things be able to thrive. So like if you have kids, maybe you're like, yeah, I want to put in less hours at the office, so I'm gonna like clear my schedule. Or maybe you have a husband and he's kind of like really stressed out, and you have to learn to kind of nurture that with that King of Cups. But I feel like you guys are kind of like retreating and taking a step back from certain areas of your life that used to be a major focus for you, and learning to balance things more and focus more on other areas that maybe in the past you kind of neglected, or you just figured, it'll work itself out. This could even be like a new business that allows you more free time, more leisure time. So like maybe a secondary job, or a secondary source of income, or like residual income that just comes in every month without you having to work super hard. I could also see you guys moving career paths, or getting a different job, or taking on a second job. And almost like this might even be the energy of, I want to say, giving up on a dream, but I don't mean that in a depressing way. But something that you may, I think sometimes we can get like narrow-minded and think like, oh, it has to work out this way. Like whatever I'm doing, like if I'm an accountant, I have to always be an accountant, not realizing that we have so many different opportunities, and the universe has endless options. So if the universe is ushering you into something else, don't be afraid to take that leap. Sometimes we get really committed to one path. Like, I really want to be a writer. But if it's just like you can never actually make yourself write, it's also okay to like put a pause on that, take a step back from it, give yourself permission of like, I'm not going to write for the next few months, and then go focus on something else you enjoy. And you might find that that actually allows you to have the love to come back to it and do a really great job later on. Or maybe you're just like, you know, I earned so much money at my job, and maybe it's not what I thought I was going to do when I was a little kid, but I'm really happy and fulfilled. So that's all that matters. So I almost feel like you're going to make changes or different decisions regarding your work life as well. And it may be tied into this relationship too, that I feel like could teach you a lot, or make other options reveal themselves to you. And for some of you guys, this could be a marriage as well, with a Hierophant coming out. That could be locking things down in matrimony and kind of that traditional route. The Hierophant could also be, like I said, taking a traditional job. So if you've been trying to do something really unconventional and hoping that that pans out, this may be like, you know what, I don't mind working at a corporate job. And actually, I freaking love this schedule. And I love the benefits. I love the health insurance. This is awesome. And kind of like finding that that life actually really, really appeals to you. Not for everyone, but yeah, I feel like there's almost a vibe of a lot of changes and restructuring. I feel like, Pile, for you guys are going through a lot of changes in the next 2 years, and you are going to really be questioning yourself almost about decisions you made in the past, especially decisions you rushed into, or decisions that you thought, like, let me just do this and I don't really know what I'm doing. I think sometimes we get rushed into making life choices, and then later on we're like, yeah, I probably wouldn't have picked that. And now it's like you're kind of taking a closer look at anything like that that isn't fully in alignment with you. So let me get some of these cards for pile number 3. We want to figure out what pile 4 in their life in 2 years' time. Archangel Zadkiel, self-acceptance, compassion, forgiveness, and soulful appreciation, heartfelt gratitude. Again, it's giving me that stay-at-home mom vibe, or someone picking up the slack financially a little bit. If you are not a stay-at-home mom, or not married or anything, I'm not gonna lie, this could also be like a little bit of financial difficulty or something. I don't know. Or needing to watch finances, or maybe like needing to restructure things financially, needing to take a look at things financially and like rearrange things or make decisions around that. I feel like there's things in your life that it's almost like you've been really hoping just going to magically work out. And it's almost like, what objective steps could I take to improve this situation? So if things have been tight financially, maybe it's taking a look at your expenses and realizing, you know what, I spent a lot of money on like streaming services. I don't really need them. I don't watch them that much, so I'm going to cancel those. Or every month I, end up shopping at this really expensive grocery store nearby just because it's close. But now I'm going to do those weekly trips to Costco, even though it's a little bit of a drive, and end up saving so much money. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a vibe of like, or going into your office with your boss and saying like, I need that raise, and can I please get that this year, and getting it. But it's almost like doing the hard thing that you really didn't want to do and taking a look at that. Let's get some more cards for pile number 4. What is their life going to be like in 2 years' time? We also got longing, desperation. So I feel like there's so much chance for personal growth again from this relationship. I feel like whatever this relationship is, it really and truly is almost like a fated relationship to make you stretch yourself, to make you grow, to make you become better and push yourself into a higher version of you. We got this self-acceptance card, compassion, forgiveness. I feel like you are almost like forgiving certain things from the past about yourself from others, and you're becoming a lot deeper of a person. This may also be a lot of spiritual growth, increasing your ability to meditate or to astral project or to get downloads from the astral plane. I feel like this is really a spiritual journey for you. It could even be getting more involved in like certain religious groups or spiritual groups, like getting involved into a church group or something like that. Or if there's a local Wiccan group or something, getting involved in that, or a local tarot group. I feel like this is also about finding community and learning to reach out to others, like learning that you can ask the lady down the street and tell her that you had a really rough night and she gets you like a casserole or something, or you're having a rough week and she brings you a casserole. So I feel like you also find a lot of comfort in your community and possibly in animals as well. Some of you guys may be adopting pets, or if you have a pet, spending more time with them. Yeah, we got kinship, community, your group. So I almost feel like there's like, for some of you guys, been a little bit of a wall of ice, or a little bit of like standoffishness, or kind of like being in your own energy and not letting anyone else in. And this is almost like beginning the process of thawing and letting in others, and not holding people at bay, kind of like letting the ice melt a little bit and realizing, you know, this is kind of nice. It's actually really nice to bring the sunshine in and to like chill out a little bit. So if you have had like traumas, or an avoidant attachment, or an anxious attachment style, or a disorganized attachment style, you might be working through that as well, and kind of surprising yourself with like, you know what, I'm a lot more capable of like stable love than I realized. I also am going to get some cards from this deck, so let me clear these away. I'm just going to move these up and move these down. And then we can shuffle from this deck. So we want to know what is going to be in pile 4's life in 2 years' time. So we got 7th chakra, Archangel Uriel. That is the crown chakra. So like I said, developing your spiritual gifts for sure. Oh my gosh, my favorite card in maybe all the oracle decks, like all of them. I love this card, Door to Personal Healing and Happiness. I just love the image on it, that beautiful rainbow, which is such a powerful spiritual symbol, the dove, the waterfall, the lily pads, the door thrown open. I just love that image. And yeah, I feel like you guys are really going through so much personal growth. You're really leveling up. You are really healing yourself. And it's like you may not be fully alchemized by the time this 2 years is up, or you've healed everything, but you've worked hard through so many of these lessons. And again, I feel like this beautiful relationship that wants to come in for some of you guys is really teaching you that. It may test your boundaries. Sometimes when we meet our soulmate, it kind of like triggers us, or the fights are just a lot more intense because that person intuitively knows our flaws, intuitively knows past life issues, intuitively knows, you know, the negative things that trigger us or whatever, and have a way of bringing that out in us. So sometimes it can feel really difficult working through that, and it may feel like, oh, I just want to quit, like I'm done with this. And I'm not saying to stay in like a toxic relationship. Hopefully it's not a toxic relationship for you guys, but I just feel like there's a beautiful connection that will maybe make you realize how capable you are of deep love, and how much you do want connection. And for some of you guys, this could be a marriage partner, a spouse, someone that you're with forever, the love of your life. And for others, this could be a short-lived thing. But either way, I feel like you come out of this relationship like so much stronger, with so much growth. Let's get some more cards for pile number 4. Blossoming abundance. Ah, yes. Okay, I love that for you guys, because the 5 of Pentacles had me a little worried, I'm not gonna lie. And so, oh my gosh, so many positive cards from this deck. Woman holding a heart. Yeah, I feel like this is also about you realizing some of you guys have like never been either center stage, or never been truly put first. Like you've had people that kind of, I don't want to say took advantage of you, but like just expected you to always be around, or expected you to put up with whatever. And I feel like a lot of this energy is about realizing that you are kind of the main character of your story, and also welcoming in more money, welcoming in a better relationship, realizing that you are so deserving of all those beautiful things, pile number 4. So it's almost like you surprise yourself with like, you know, I can have this, and I can have a relationship, and I can have money, and I can have a good job. So yeah, I feel like this next 2 years, you're going to be doing a lot of soul growth work. You're going to be refining your crown chakra and your intuition, and learning to maybe meditate more. You might have really vivid dreams at this time over the next 2 years. And your guides may feel very close to you, like they're speaking to you. You might also, I feel like by the end of this 2-year cycle, you guys are going to be earning more money. It's almost like you may have to go through a period where, again, you're making adjustments. You're cutting down your budget, or you're going into your boss and saying like, I need more hours, or I need a raise, or whatever. And I almost feel like once you're willing to do that hard work, or once you're willing to take on that role of doing things that isn't as fun. It's not as fun to like budget your groceries. It's not as fun to go in and have a meeting with your boss. But once you do that, I feel like you're like, okay, awesome. And then you are able to make more. You are able to welcome in that abundance. So it's almost like through that hard work, we get this major payoff. So let's get some more astrology. Let's get some astrology for pile number 4 for where they'll be in 2 years' time. So we got Pisces, Gemini, and Mars. Really interesting combination. So that's Gemini, Aries, and Pisces. Pisces is technically the 12th house. So let's do it in order. So first of all, we have Gemini. Gemini is a sign of learning and knowledge. They're super inquisitive. They're really curious. They're ruled by Mercury. And so I feel like a lot of you guys are kind of learning dual sides of yourself, or realizing a different aspect of yourself, because Gemini is that twin. So Gemini often has 2 sides of their identity. And I think that can be a really cool thing that maybe all of us, maybe we don't have that to the level that Gemini does, but sometimes we can surprise ourselves. We can get into a rut of thinking like, oh, I'm really messy. And then we're with someone that challenges us to like clean our apartment every day. And then we end up doing it and quickly vacuuming every day. And we realize, hey, this is pretty easy. And I love how this feels. It's kind of like, you know, you could imagine if you were at a boot camp or you were in the military and you tried to tell your, you know, the drill sergeant, like, oh, sorry, I'm not going to make my bed every morning. I'm a Pisces. I can't. I'm kind of a mess. Yeah. Sorry. They probably it wouldn't go over so well. And they'd be like, excuse me, you have to do it anyway. So sometimes we have these really limiting beliefs like, oh, I'm just messy and I just can't help it. But actually you can help it, and actually you have more power over things than you realize. So I feel like with Gemini, it's kind of accessing that different knowledge about ourselves, accessing that other awareness of the duality we contain, and realizing that we're not this limited version of ourselves that we often trap ourselves inside. Then we have Mars. Mars can be conflict, and I feel like this relationship that's coming in, for some of you guys, not everyone, but there could be conflicts that take time to kind of work out and work through and address. This may be the process of like talking to each other and realizing that one person has a different attachment style, or one person handles conflict a certain way and shuts down, and the other person handles it by fighting, and kind of like realizing our own, you know, part to play in things. The fact that maybe we can give into our own triggers, and maybe those triggers aren't totally accurate. So I feel like with Mars, it's almost realizing how we can be slow to anger, or how we can really control our emotions and think long term instead of just living in the moment with that pure Mars fiery passion. You know, as great as that can be at times, it's not the best for like a stable relationship. That's why Aries, the Mars house, opposes Virgo, the house of partnership. So it's really important to kind of make sure that when we're with a partner or we're thinking long term, we don't just fly off the handle and give in to our most base urge to just like, I'm just going to say it, I'm just going to do it. And I feel like you guys are really learning that, this kind of patient, balanced energy, especially with the Temperance card coming off as your second card. Then we have the 12th house, Pisces, and that is a patient energy. Pisces is where Venus is exalted, because Pisces often see the best in their partner and see their partner through totally rose-colored glasses. And I almost feel like this is your message, that you could be, again, uniting with a soulmate, because Pisces is also extremely spiritual, has to do with the spiritual realm, the astral plane, and spiritual psychic gifts in general. So again, this could be you increasing your intuition, and also that kind of soulmate union that happens, seeing our partner with a lot of forgiveness and love, and thinking of them in like the best light, instead of thinking of them in some kind of negative way. Instead of assuming the worst about them, assuming the best, and really seeing all the beautiful possibilities instead of being negative. And again, everyone says Pisces is delusional, but I always mention that Pisces is like every year usually the wealthiest sign. I think Libra got it last year or the last 2 years, But every year it's usually Pisces, and I think if Steve Jobs was still alive, probably it would be Pisces again, because he's would have been a billionaire, was a billionaire. So if he had still stayed alive, I think it would have been Pisces getting the edge. And anyway, they're always they are the number 2 sign now, at least. So there's a ton of Pisces billionaires. So everyone who says Pisces is delusional, it's like, yeah, maybe they are, but maybe that's a powerful manifestation tool. Maybe delusional works. And not just with money, but with relationships too. Sometimes when we really do see the best in someone, and we really do look on the bright side, and we really do expect that, it's only going to be good with whatever in life, then we're able to move mountains with our faith and with our belief. And so I almost feel like some of you guys are being called upon to apply this to all areas. And again, not be pessimistic or negative, but just be looking to the future in a really positive way. So that is what I have for you. Pile number 4. I really hope it resonates. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you guys, hearing your thoughts, stories, observations. So let me know what you think. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, and subscribe. And if you want to see more of my content, head on over to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about your love life, channeled messages about your love life. So you guys may be very curious about that. And before that, I posted a reading about your biggest regrets when you die, which is actually really uplifting. I know it sounds kind of negative, but it was really uplifting and positive and spiritual. Before that, I posted a career reading and a money reading and lots of love readings too. But there are over 80 exclusive readings you'll only get access to when you sign up for Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So they always get posted over there first, way early. So if that sounds good to you and you're interested in signing up, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description to join me on Patreon. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you are looking for a half-hour session or a full hour-long session, whether you want to do a early pre-recorded reading where you send in your questions in advance, or whether you want to do a live one-on-one session where we get to have lots of back and forth and you get to clarify on certain areas and ask follow-up questions. However you want your reading to go, you can book that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very soon in another reading. Take care, guys. Bye.